Hey everyone!
Hey!
Welcome back to the channel. So do you see anything new? Look at this little pink futon!
Ooh, so luxurious.
It's not comfortable, but
I mean, it's really not. It's like sitting on a bag of rocks.
but it looks decent.
Like anything that's beautiful, it is hard on the inside.
Alright, so in this video we're gonna talk about 1953's Niagara, starring Marilyn Monroe.
Yes, Marilyn Monroe, Joseph Cotton, and people. Names.
Lots of people. So in this movie, Marilyn Monroe is very trifling.
Yeah, she basically plays the scheming wife of Joseph Cotton, who is an older man that she's on a honeymoon in Niagara with, and another couple comes over and wants to use their cabin, but they're held up in it and they're not giving it away. And more ensues, but we'll get into it.
Alright, so let's talk about the beginning scene. The beginning scene is actually really, really pretty. It's the waterfall, Niagara Falls, and all these rocks, and then there's like a big rainbow. And I was, come on, rainbow rights?
Yes, come on, filming this in the actual Niagara Falls on location.
And the location is called like Rainbow Cabins or something like that.
Something like that. I kept looking at it because it just said something like fully cleaned cabins or something was the big advertisement over their name.
And it did start off with Marilyn Monroe just like chilling, smoking, with the sunset going through the window, her just looking like,
Just naked under a sheet, smoking in bed. Just fire hazard.
And then her man comes in, and it seems like they're separated because there's two separate beds, and the man's trying to like talk to her, but as soon as the man comes in, she just pretends like she's sleeping.
Like she rolls over before he comes in and like pretends to be asleep.
And I'm like, who are you fooling, Marilyn? You can smell the smoke. Like I was like, oh, she just got done smoking and just passed out.
I think this might be the first time you've seen this in a movie, huh? Where the beds are separated like that for a married couple. Like back in the 1950s and 40s and stuff, like it was very like the code didn't allow people to have two beds together. Like couples weren't allowed to sleep in beds together.
Oh, I thought they were just separated.
No, like that was like a weird thing where like they didn't want to imply that like sex had happened or that people were doing it.
That's so weird. Like, but yes, there's trouble in paradise. There's two characters that come in. Polly and Ray come into the scene. They needed to stay in that cabin. They waited 3 years to celebrate their honeymoon, and this is their moment. But Marilyn comes out like, ugh.
I can't, my husband, he's just too ill. They're like, is he sick? Oh no, he just can't get out of bed.
He's just too crazy.
And like, they knew what they were doing because they specifically wanted that cabin because that's the best view of the falls. Like, you can see it from the inside.
And that's the reason that cabin was so popular. It was basically when you go to an Airbnb and there's another person there and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah. Like, how did this get double booked?
It was very that. And then basically Polly's so nice, like, oh no, you can have it, girl. I forget her name is like Rose. Marilyn's name is Rose in this movie.
Yeah.
You can have it, Rose. That's fine. We'll get another one. And they do. And I'm like, that would have been never me like, oh, y'all need to step out.
I think your time is up.
Y'all need to step out. I paid my down payment, the upcharge for the waterfall, view, everything. Get out.
Yeah, they were super cavalier about it. I've been like, I'm gonna get like half off my room now, right? Because I wanted that one specifically.
I turned into a Karen so quick.
This is how the season 1 of White Lotus started, okay?
And it basically is White Lotus before White Lotus because there is a murder. But we'll get into that. Marilyn, alright.
She kind of floats through this movie.
Yeah, she kind of floats through this movie. She's very, I don't know, I can't stop saying trifling because she's trifling in this movie.
She is scheming and she is cheating on her husband.
Yep, so basically how you get introduced that she's cheating on her husband is Polly and Ray go to the waterfalls and they want to take a picture and Polly's just backing up because her man's like, go further. And she's like, ha.
And you keep thinking he's gonna make her back off the cliff or something.
Right, I'm like, he's trying to murder Polly? But then Polly looks over and there's Marilyn making out with some dude who turns out to be really hot later in the scene. You can't see much about him because he's wearing a raincoat. And she's just like, ooh, I ain't see nothing. She's just like, Polly's like, let me go over here, mind my business.
I mean, it's the only time in this movie where Polly has that kind of energy. Where she's like, you know what? I'm not going to say a thing. It doesn't stay that way for long.
Right. And Polly's basically, look, I'm going to mind my business and tells her husband, look, all girls over there making out with some dude. That's not her husband.
Yeah, she's like, you know that one, the blonde one? Like, she's pretty, but she's trifling. She's doing some things. And, like, Marilyn keeps trying it. Like, she's fully plotting as a way to, like, gaslight her husband into, like, acting out. Like, there's a party happening, and she comes out in this little pink dress with a shawl. And she's like, can you play this record? and puts it on knowing it's gonna get him angry.
So she plays this record, and then she starts chilling with Polly and Ray, and she's just like flaunting herself. And by the way, Marilyn looks really good in this movie. Like her skin looks so smooth. I'm like, did they use a skin smoother? But I'm like, I don't know. Or was that could have been Vaseline on the lens?
Yeah, like a soft focus on her, yeah.
But her eyes weren't like blurry, so it's like her skin was on point, the hair was on point.
The dress was simple, but it looked really good. It's like the only glamorous dress she has in this. The rest of the movie, she's wearing like suits.
Yeah, but she still looked pretty good. While Rose is chilling with Molly and Ray, her husband comes out and just destroys the record. I can't hear this. Oh my god!
And cuts his hand. And Polly she's kind of a Budinsky. Like she's like, oh no, I have a medical kit. I'll go and patch up his hand. And like goes and does so. And like she is just sitting in, listening to their whole life story.
Right, I'm like, this guy's oversharing. If I was her, I would like, I came here to like patch you up.
You couldn't get me to scoot faster out of that door.
I came here to patch you up, not listen to your trauma. Okay, get a therapist.
Like I kept wondering where the scene was going for a little bit because like it got to a point where he like turned out all the lights so they could watch the lights light up on the falls.
I know. I was like, is he trying to make a move on her?
Right. It seemed like that. And like weirdly enough, her husband is so not even there. Like, anytime he's there, he's, like, not paying attention to whatever's going on. Like, he walks in the room fully dark. They're, like, the windows together. And he's like, Polly, what's taking you so long?
Right? Like, not even, like, thinking, like, oh, my God, what is she doing with him in the dark? None of that. He's
Nothing.
Just like, what are you doing, girl?
He starts talking, like, he's so easily distracted. He'll just start talking about a model, like, car that the guy was building. Like, not even phased.
Before Ray walks in, Mr. Loomis, I'm going to call him that because that's how I remember him.
Yeah.
Tells Polly that Marilyn Monroe has been cheating on him. And that's why he broke that record, because it was that song that he found her with? Or what was about that song? Or the first time she heard it was when she was with the other guy.
Yeah, it's tainted.
That it's tainted. So that's why he hates it so much. And again, I would have been like, cool story, bro.
Right, that's so interesting. I gotta go. I think my stove is on.
And then fast forward to where we were, Ray basically talks about this model car, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm building this and that. And then he just gets mad again, tosses the car, and then kicks down the table. And then they're like,
you know what?
Slowly, they're like, bye.
Bye.
Bye, girl. I would have done the same thing. I was like, oh.
And I was like, see, this is why we don't talk to people on vacations.
I don't.
We don't make vacation friends.
We don't. What's the point?
Because next thing you know, anytime something's going wrong, they have to drive Rose everywhere.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they become basically Rose Uber.
Right. Like, Rose just uses everybody in this movie. But, like, what happens is the very next day, Rose decides, like, oh, great, he's had this outburst. I'm going to take advantage of this. So, apparently they must have made up because they had a really nice morning where, like, they're lovey-dovey. And then she's getting dressed, and he notices she's putting perfume on, and he gets furious.
Oh, no, she was still being trifling because you skipped the scene where she met the dude.
Yeah.
Like, she met up with the dude, and then
she called him and
basically was planning for her lover to kill Mr. Loomis.
Yeah, she was talking in code, and like her code is basically acting like she was trying to phone like the telephone company or something, or the bus station. Yeah, she's trying to phone the bus station, but she was calling his halfway house, and that was their code. But yeah, like she is making arrangements to go and buy tickets because she knows he's gonna follow her.
Mm-hmm. And then that's why I was like, oh, she is so trifling. The next morning, she's like, oh, I'm so happy with you. Oh, I'm gonna murder you.
Can you give me some orange juice? I'm gonna fucking kill this man.
I'm gonna off him so bad. So yeah, she is plotting. I was like, this is basically true crime because we watch true crime a lot, and I'm like, oh, Marilyn, you are that girl they talk about in these true crime series.
See, where she messed up was she made Vacation Friends.
Mm-hmm.
Had she not made Vacation Friends, she probably would have got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually pretty cleverly set up. Like, the next day, she's at the bus station. She's in the gift shop where she's having an arrangement with the guy, like, acting like they're buying stuff. And, like, he leaves that note for her in the gift card. It's basically saying, like, once you hear our song, you know the job is done.
They're going to play their song in the bell tower. There's plenty of bells. I've never seen a bell tower like that before.
I didn't know they took requests.
I know. I was like, what are they going to play next?
Do, 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 do.
Right? Ding, ding, dun, 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 ding.
Yeah, like, Marilyn rushes home and basically says that her husband is missing and she hasn't seen him. And Polly and Ray become her Uber. Like, they're taking her everywhere.
Yeah, and then she's she stayed trifling because they were trying to take a picture of Polly. Ray was trying to take a picture of Polly. Polly was trying to pose, and she just walks in the picture, creates a shadow, and she's like, okay, excuse me.
Have you seen my husband?
I know she's trying to set up her alibi. I don't know where my husband is. And then just basically setting up that she doesn't know where her husband is. Like, she's so confused and so worried. So when she starts walking into her cabin, she looks over, like, really, like, oh, I know what I'm doing.
It was very telenovela, just like.
Very telenovela, like. And then, all of a sudden, I don't know why she did that out there. And then when she opens the door and goes inside her house, her cabin, she's like, ah. Like, girl, nobody's watching you. You should have done that in reverse. You should have been like, oh, outside, and then done the evil look when you came inside the house. That's all I know. I was like, girl, you have never done this before.
She had no chill whatsoever. And like, they basically she makes Ray and Polly take her all the way back to like the Niagara Falls tours. And they're going all up and through this thing looking for her husband. And when they finally pour out in the street to send her away because she's so distraught, they can't find her husband. All that's left is his shoes at the check-in counter. She hears the bells.
Well, that's after, because the police is already there.
Yeah.
And there's like, do you know these shoes? She's like, yeah, they're my husband's. And then basically the policeman's like, oh, can you go take care of her? Like, do you have anybody to take care of you? He's like, no, nobody, just these people. I would have been like, these people?
These people?
Like, right, like these people.
We have names.
Right. And then old boy Ray was just like, she doesn't have nobody to take care of. What about that guy? And then the girl, Polly, was like, oh, well, fine, we'll take you. I'm like, Polly, you got yourself into this.
Yeah.
And then they basically take her to the car, start walking her to the car, and then the bell, her song starts playing, and she's just like,
you know what? I could walk.
I could walk, girl. It's fine. But she looks at the bell for the longest time and like, not suspicious at all, bro.
Not even that, like the subtlety of a jumbo sign. The second she turns her back to them, not even 3 feet away, it's a...
And then she's like, actually, I can walk.
In high heels.
But it's funny because like Polly and Ray, they're like, whatever.
Okay. Because you could tell Ray was already over her from this jump. Like, it's interesting to me like how he was never once attracted to her. Like,
oh, to Rose?
To Rose.
He probably already sensed a trifling.
Yeah, he sensed like, oh no, this girl is not it.
Plus, that Ray was so focused about his boss or VP, vice president, whatever. He was more worried about that or like having fun than anything else. He literally was there to just have fun.
Yeah. And Miss Polly like was just being such a Budinsky a lot of the time. Like a lot of this stuff had nothing to do with her. Like had she just like let it go, it would have been fine.
Like had she not even gone like, oh, let me patch up his hand, I would have been like, oh, that's too bad, girl.
That is so bad.
That is so bad.
We would like. I'm sure they got towels. They have first aid kits in there. He'll be fine.
No, the minute I would have seen him come out and destroy the record, like I don't want to go in the same room as him.
Yeah, like I think I'm good.
All right, so then what happens? What happens?
Well, we can cut forward to like the big shocking reveal because like Rose is called in to the morgue to go and look at her husband's body, and like when she goes in, it's like really nicely set up. It's all dark, and she's like sauntering in, like she's fully in actress mode. Like, oh no, I have to put on this scene that I'm gonna be so distraught when they pull up that curtain. We don't get to see it, but she just falls to the floor in shock.
I know. No, we do get to see it because she's just coming like, okay, I'm gonna identify my man's body. She's like, I'm ready to get my acting face, and they do. Oh wait, we don't get to see the man's face.
They don't show his face. No.
Yeah, no, they don't show his face. So
but you can tell from her reaction
that it was her lover because she just like goes like, that wasn't acting. She was just like for real distraught and just fainted, and boom. At that point, I was like, oh yeah, it's her man because it's her lover because if it was her man, she would have just been like, ah.
Yeah. She fully prepared for this, and you could tell it's like. Watching her relationship with him, like, it doesn't seem like he's rich or anything. Like, what is the advantage she's getting from even being married to him?
Why didn't they just get a divorce? Or is it because it was the 50s and they're like, oh no, the shame?
Maybe that, but it's like, again, it's just like, there was really no benefit in her being with him.
I don't know, maybe they could, that's the thing, they could have talked it out. Maybe y'all could have been opened or something. If y'all really were afraid of that shame.
That's the thing. It's like, maybe there was once love there and it just really didn't last.
And then,
but I never got to that bridge where it's like, I can never imagine getting to that bridge where it's like, okay, I need to kill him. We need to off him. That's the only solution.
I don't know how I'm going to stay with this man. I think divorce, that's not an option. I gotta kill him.
Yeah, he's gotta die.
What? Oh, from there, Marilyn is in some hospital in like some kind of like daze where she's just like, oh.
Yeah, they got her all like out of it and she's pumped, girl.
If she fainted, why did they like inject her with like something?
I guess they said that she went into such shock that they wanted to try, like calm her down and sedate her.
Oh, okay. How we find out Mr. Loomis is still alive is Polly comes back to the Rainbow Cabin, and then the owner's like, hey, by the way, you're in that good one again, the B, whatever it was called, with the view where Rose was. You're in there now. I'll move all your stuff if you don't mind. And I would have been like, why are you touching my stuff?
Why you touching my stuff? Was it clean? Because he bled all up in that thing.
Right.
Did you fix the table?
Right.
Like, I have questions.
But no, she's like, oh, okay. And then she walks in. She's about to take a nap. And Mr. Loomis goes in there thinking that Rose is there because he's trying to kill her. And then she wakes up and just screams really loud. And Mr. Loomis runs away. And then everybody's like, what's going on? And then Ray walks in, and it was just like, what is going on? And basically does not believe her. She's like...
Doesn't even ask her. What happened or anything, or why she's upset. He just immediately jumps to, oh, girl,
it was a
dream. Calm down. You're dreaming.
It was a dream. It was a nightmare. It's fine. They didn't even let her talk. And then she finally mentioned Mr. Loomis was here. He's like... That was a dream.
Girl, you are crazy.
Here, let me go in there. Let me go in that room. She's like, don't go in there. It's like, there is nobody here. The full like back door.
Pulling a back door.
Like, you are crazy. I'm just trying to have fun.
It's like the kitchen drawer is still ajar where he pulled out that paring knife. It's like, okay, that's a bit of a wild tool to use to murder somebody, but okay. It was fully like a little peeling knife.
It was a peeling knife, but I was like, what? You had all these other things? Like, whatever. You know what? I'm not going to give people ideas. Do you? So then, basically, Marilyn's still in that hospital. She's finally breaking out of her daze because the song starts playing again.
And it fully takes her right back. Like, she remembers, like, oh, wait.
I got to get up and out of here.
Like, I ain't going to be next. I'm marked.
And she gets up, dips out of the hospital, and... basically, she is just running for her life now. Yeah,
and what's wild to me is like going back to the cabin. Ray is fully on board of leaving, and then she mentions, "Oh, by the way, I ran into your boss and his wife. And they want us to have dinner and go fishing." And he's like, "Oh, we don't have to leave anymore.
We don't have to leave. Actually, do you really have to leave?
Was it really that scary?
Did you die though?"
It was only that.
So they ended up staying. Marilyn tries to go to Chicago. She gets her little ticket refund. But
she finds out cops are searching everything.
Searching for identification. They're searching for her because she ran away from the hospital. So she tries to take an alternative route. And in that alternative route, Mr. Loomis is there waiting for her. So then she starts running away like,
running through the bell tower.
Hitting
every door.
Not even grabbing the knob. She just like runs up to a door and she's like, it's not opening. It's not opening. When the knob's right here. It's not opening.
Runs up to another,
and then does the same thing. And I'm like, what is going? Try the knob? But it was an elevator, so she would have just fell. But I'm like, I don't know why you're hitting it because it's not opening and the elevator's not there.
Also, maybe if you took off the high heels.
Right.
Maybe if you took those off, you could move a little faster.
She reaches all the way to the top of the bell tower where all the bells are. And then Mr. Loomis catches up to her and is like, well, sorry, I can't play it for you again, or somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, sorry, we can't play that song for you again.
Yep, and then
strangles
her to death.
With her own scarf.
With her own scarf. Which, I don't know, that guy was hot. The guy that Rose was cheating on Mr. Loomis with.
Yeah.
But he's not, I wouldn't like kill my husband.
Yeah, it's not murder your husband hot, ever.
Like, at all, ever.
Nobody's that hot.
If you're watching this and you're thinking about that, don't.
Don't.
Get a divorce, leave.
Just leave.
Yeah, do something.
Like,
besides, because that's not going to turn out good for you.
And like, this is also like very 1950s storytelling where like, if someone commits a horrible crime, they have to like die. They aren't allowed to live. It was like written into like their laws of movie making. So yeah, I always forget that like Marilyn doesn't live in this. Like, she gets murdered. And it's like almost like the movie still has like 20 more minutes left.
Right. And then Loomis was like, I always loved you. I'm like, well, you both were toxic.
Yeah. And Foley stays the night in the bell tower with her body.
Just because he can't leave. And he's just trying to open the door. I'm like, you could have just broken a window and left. There's no cameras.
There were no cameras.
It's the 50s. You could have broken the glass and opened the door and left. But he stayed there overnight. Time after that, he just tries to escape. And Ray and Polly are just trying to have a good time. We're in a boat with their boss. Just have a good moment. But as soon as Polly gets into the boat, Mr. Loomis is there trying to like start off the boat. But the funny part is, for him to get into the boat, he had to distract some guy. To distract the guy, he puts a stick into between the steering wheel. So the horn just keeps on beeping. And the guy's like, hey, what's going on over there? He goes over there, and instead of checking the horn, which that's where the sound is coming from, he checks the engine. Like, an engine doesn't make that noise.
He's fully fumbling around like,
what's going on? The engine. And I'm like, it's the horn.
And he takes advantage of it because, like, Ray and Polly and their boss and his wife have docked the boat so that they can go refuel and grab supplies. And Polly comes back with the beers and puts it on the boat and gets cornered by Mr. Loomis. And basically, this is where I don't understand her logic. Like, she never knows when it's time just to, like, let it go.
Dip on out.
Just get out of there. But, like, she's fully just like, no, you have to come forward. And it's just like...
So trying to fight him. And he shoves her. And then she gets knocked out. She's like, get off this boat. That's the first thing she said. I'm like, girl, I was thinking, you have the worst luck, Polly.
This is the worst trip ever.
Right, the worst trip ever. You go in there, the bad guy is there, and he tells you to get off the boat, and you're like, no. Turn yourself in. And then he knocks her out.
And Foley gets put on, the full trip to where he's trying to cross over to get to the United States and run away.
Yeah, because he gets the boat started, and then they leave.
But then they only make it halfway because they didn't refuel.
And then they get caught in the current. So now they're in danger of going down the stream and falling off the waterfall.
And like, he has that fully change of heart moment where like he just picks her up and like nopes her off the boat to throw her onto a rock and then goes over the cliff.
Yes, because basically everybody gave up on trying to chase this boat. Even the cops were like,
the water's too choppy, they couldn't get there.
We ain't doing all that. They're like, let me turn around. We ain't gonna die. And they're basically going to die because the stream is taking them down. And Mr. Loomis is like, oh, you know what? I dragged this girl into this. Basically just grabs her, tosses her to a rock, and she just catches. You know she was taking rock climbing classes on her free time. She like this, starts rock climbing over it, and she saves herself. And then the boat goes over the waterfall, and then we assume he's gone.
We assume he perishes, yeah.
And then she gets saved by this helicopter that was basically bringing down the chair and was like, psych!
Did do that.
Like, psych, and then brings it all the way back up. And then I'm like, why did you do that? Don't you have to just lift it a little bit? But no, they brought it all the way back up, the chair, and then brought it all the way back down. And then she finally gets saved.
Did she put a seatbelt on?
Not when she got on, she didn't put the seatbelt on, but when she was all the way up, everything was strapped up. So that was a continuity there.
Yeah.
Or maybe they assumed they're like, oh, she went like this, and she's like all of a sudden, oh wait, in the middle.
Oops.
Oops. Oh my God. Sorry, y'all. And yeah, the movie ends. And the whole time I was thinking like, wow, Ray really doesn't care about his wife.
No. Even when she went missing, his like whole demeanor wasn't like, I have to save my wife. It seemed like an inconvenience.
Like he was just there like, oh, okay. Like he was just there going along. Like, is she gonna die? If she dies, I can get a new wife. Because he did mention at the beginning of the movie, he's like, oh, this is my wife. Oh, you have and then Mr. Loomis was like, oh, you have a good girl there. He's like, yep, she'll do for now, or something along those lines.
Yeah. Like, scuzzball.
Like, wow.
Whoa. But it seemed like the biggest inconvenience for him. Like, it just seemed like a headache more than he was concerned.
Yes. And I'm just like, girl, don't ever go back to Niagara Falls, because obviously that's not your spot.
Even at the end of the movie, like, I hope it doesn't turn you off to Niagara Falls, and she doesn't even give them an answer. And she's just like, and gets in her car and goes.
Yeah, because there's also a scene where Mr. Loomis was chasing Polly in the Niagara Falls, and she almost falls.
Yeah.
But he catches her, and he's just like, hey, help me get a new chance, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, you killed that guy. You must turn yourself in. This whole time she's being righteous. Yeah. If that was me, I would have been like, who is you?
What, is this a ghost in front of me?
Is your name Casper?
Because I don't see anything.
I don't see anything. Who? What is holding me back against this rock?
What is this voice I am hearing?
Right, that would have been me.
Fully. That's like, oh, you don't want me to act like I don't know you? I don't know who you are.
I'm just trying to mind my business. Like, I don't even like... That would have been me the whole time. I'm just trying to mind my business. I'm just trying to just come here and see the Niagara Falls and take cute pictures. Okay, that's all I want to do. You go do what you got to do over there. That's not my business.
Like, my name is Paul. That's between y'all.
Exactly. But yeah, overall, this movie was pretty fun. It was intense. It was a thriller. There was a lot of thrills in this. It was shot really well. Marilyn looked amazing.
The pacing was actually pretty decent. Like, we didn't get bored or anything watching it.
I didn't get bored, but you know me, I suck at remembering things. I feel like this is one of the best Marilyn movies we've seen so far, like acting-wise, and story-based, like script-wise. I feel like this movie was pretty well written. It had a lot of thrills. It kept me on my toes, like what is going on? I was actually engaged. And I've noticed that 1953 was very popular for films.
Yeah.
How many films did they drop in 1953?
Quite a lot.
Right? Like, it was like quick content for them. I was like, they had that down to a T.
And like they're pumping them out with Marilyn, and like in this especially, she's very good because she's playing like an actual character.
Mm-hmm.
Like she wasn't a cartoon character at all.
Like there was not much of like the whispery little doll voice that she usually does.
Yeah.
She was actually like portraying like an evil woman.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. If you've seen this movie, let me know your thoughts down below. Did we miss anything? Is there anything else you thought we should have talked about? But that's all I honestly can remember right now.
It was a good movie. Like, I was satisfied with it.
It was. I could see why you guys recommended it because it was very captivating.
Yeah, and it was camp, but not campy.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense. Like, Marilyn was very camp in it at moments, but it was not like, oh, I can't take this seriously.
I don't know. And then that strangling scene kind of like reminded me of like Blonde, of what they thought happened to her. And like, did this guy that wrote Blonde like see this movie and was like, yes, I have to have this recreation? It
would feel very much like that. Like all the best shot moments from her films were kind of like cherry picked and thrown into that. It feels like.
It feels like, I don't know. Did you guys like Blonde? I didn't like it.
No.
Because when I was watching, I was like, this is really bad.
This is horrible.
All right, let us know what other films we should watch. Comment down below.
Yes.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay trifling, and until next time, deuces.
Deuces.